the audience that this hearing is being videotaped and audio taped, so please keep that in mind if you decide to approach the rail to address the board. To begin our hearing, I would ask everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we call the first matter, I'd like to announce that because of a scheduling conflict that developed in my schedule last week, I am going to be ceding the chair after the second matter on our agenda. The first and the second matter are matters that were continued from last month, so I feel obligated to participate in those. After I depart, Member Robertson will take over as chair, and alternate member Kavicki will participate in the deliberations thereafter. The first item on our agenda this evening is a petition of Yafim and Jesselyn Alexeyev. I apologize. Alexeyev, you'll correct me. This is a continuance from last month in which the board granted a variance for a fence. The day after our hearing, I was informed that the petitioners were considering amending the design of the fence that was approved, so I reconsidered my vote in order to place this matter back on the agenda. After conferring with the building commissioner, we had determined that the proposed amendments were probably ones that would require an updated plan. So that's the shorthand summary of why this matter is back. I think procedurally, the first thing that I would ask for is a motion to allow me to reconsider my vote.
So moved. Second.
All in favor of that motion? Okay, that passed. So we have formally reopened this proceeding because I've reconsidered the vote. And we have a new plan that was submitted that essentially simplifies the design of the fence. So instead of, I think, 3 different heights and 2 different materials, 2 different fence materials, it's now all going to be PVC. And there's really only going to be kind of 2 changes in elevation. I believe everyone has a copy of the amended plan. And for the record, the amended plan was date stamped December 19th. So with all of that as introduction, is there anything else you would like to add or share?
No, that's basically it. We tried to simplify and remove the 8-foot sections that were problematic last time.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any questions for the applicants? Let me ask, is there anyone in the audience who cares to be heard in connection with this request for a variance for a fence at 25 Bacon Street? How does the board wish to proceed?
I move we grant the variance.
A second.
All in favor of the pending motion?
Right.
All right, so you still have a variance for this fence. It's just going to be for the plan that's date stamped December 19th. A decision needs to be prepared and filed with the clerk's office. And then there's a 20-day appeal period, so no building permit would issue until that appeal period expires, okay? All right,
Okay.
thank you, good luck. The second item in our agenda, another continuance from last week, is the petition of Stephanie Ray in connection with the request for a variance to reduce the frontage requirement at 41 Independence Drive in order to construct a single-family home. At our hearing on this matter last month, the board had a number of questions, and we had determined to request a legal opinion from the city solicitor's office, which we had received. We then received a written request for a continuance from the applicant in order to review the building, strike that, in order to review the city solicitor's opinion and also to provide additional information that had been the subject of discussion at last month's hearing. Has everyone received a copy of that request for continuance? Let me ask, is anyone here because the matter at 41 Independence Drive was on the schedule this evening? Anyone who seeks to be heard? Would you like to be heard? All right, if you could just approach.
Hi, good evening. How are you? I was here a month ago in the
Yeah.
previous...
Could you do me a favor? Could you just state your name and address?
Sorry, my name is Daniela Ojeda from 43 Independence Drive in Woburn. I'm the neighbor, the lot next door to the lot in question here. I just had a question since last time that I was here. I have talked to a lot of neighbors, and I've understood their concerns as well, so I was wondering what would be the best way for them, if they cannot be present here at the next continuance for the item,
Sure.
for the matter.
They're welcome to submit an email or a letter if they cannot attend and express their views that way, and those will be part of the record on this matter.
And it will go to your email, or it will, I think it's the
clerk
Mr.
collects.
Vincent, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Vincent collects them and then distributes it to everything, so he's kind of like the point person.
Okay, and the second question is, since there is a continuance, then there will be no decision made today, and we will just come back when you decide.
Correct. Well,
to-
we haven't voted yet, so, but typically, as a matter of courtesy, if a petitioner asks for a continuance, the board would grant that. So but until we take a formal vote, I can't tell you.
Oh, no, that's
what's
fine.
gonna
Just trying
happen.
to understand, first time
Sure.
I'm part of this, so, okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
thank you. Anyone else who cares to be heard? So how does the board wish to proceed in connection with the request for continuance?
Make a motion to continue the January hearing?
All right, let's figure out the date of our January hearing. Is it no, it's the,
17th? 17th?
correct. All right, the 17th work for everybody? Okay. All right, was there a second on the motion to continue?
I second.
All in favor of the motion to continue this matter until our January 17th hearing?
All right.
So that matter has been continued. I am now going to take my leave and cede the chair to Member Robertson, and wish everyone Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, all of that. Also, I do want to thank Mr. Vincent for all of his service. A small token of the board's appreciation was left on your desk, and I do want the public to know what a good job you do, and that we very much appreciate your efforts on our behalf.
Thank you very much. It means quite a bit. Thank you.
The third matter on the agenda is petition of Katie Construction LLC, 655 Boston Road, Bill Recker, and Shaney M. Tomasetti, 245 Salem Road, Bill Recker. Landowner seeking a special permit from Section 7.3 of the 1985 Woburn zoning ordinance as amended to raise and replace a single-family home at 24 Woodside Terrace, Woburn. Is the petitioner here?
Yes, appearing for the petitioner, Attorney Joseph Tabby, Rubin and Redmond, 500 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn. Here on behalf of the petitioner, Katie Construction LLC, who was in agreement to purchase the property from the heirs of an estate that currently owns the property. Petitioner is seeking to demolish the existing non-conforming single-family home and construct a new single-family home, as we've shown on the plans that have been filed with the petition. The existing dwelling is non-conforming because it does not meet the required lot size or the front yard setback. The new single-family dwelling will meet the required front yard setback, but obviously not the lot size. So with the petition, we submitted an existing conditions plan, a site plan showing the proposed dwelling, elevation plans, an area plan in the form of an aerial view of the property so that you could see the other houses that are in the neighborhood. The property is in an R1 zoning district, which requires the following in terms of dimensional regulations. A lot size of 12,000 square feet is required. This lot has 10,037 square feet. 100 feet of frontage is required. This lot has 192.12. A side yard setback of 12 feet is required. The new side setback will be 13 feet and 31 feet, which will be in compliance with the zoning ordinance. And as a result of the lot being on a corner lot, there is no rear yard setback. There's two sides setbacks. And on the front yard, the existing front yard setback is 16 feet. The new front yard setback will be 26 feet, where 25 feet is required. So our review of the assessor's records and the records at the building department indicate that the house was built in 1955, and as a result of the dimensional regulations under the 1985 zoning ordinance, we have the nonconformities. So as I said, the petitioner would like to demolish the existing single-family home and construct a new single-family home with a two-car garage. The first floor would contain a living room, a kitchen, dining room, half bath. Second floor would contain 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and a laundry room. So as you can see from the aerial view that we provided, the reconstruction of this single-family home will not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use. Many of the homes in the general area are 2.5-story single-family dwellings. Further, the dwelling will not result in a detrimental impact on traffic volume, traffic congestion, and the adequacy of municipal water supply, sewage, odor, scale, character, and visual effect. The proposal is not substantially more non-conforming than the existing non-conforming structure, and I would ask approval of this special permit application.
Thank you, sir. Does there any members of the board have any questions for the council? Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to comment pro or con with respect to this petition? What is the desire of the board?
Make a motion to approve the special permit.
A second.
There's a motion made and seconded to approve the application for the special permit. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me. The fourth matter on the agenda is a petition of Poignant Signs, 125 Samuel Barnett Boulevard, New Bedford, Mass., and the Young Men's Christian Association, 316 Huntington Avenue, Boston, seeking variances from Section 6.1 and 13.6.4 of the 1985 Woburn zoning ordinance, as amended for a freestanding sign within 25 feet front yard setback and larger than 10 square feet, and a wall sign larger than 10 square feet at 139 Lexington Street, Woburn, Mass. This is a lady who's approached the rail. I assume you're representing the sign company or the YMCA, one or the other, or both?
Yes, I'm Bethany Leonard with Poyant Signs, so I'm representing the Y as well as Poyant. Address is 125 Samuel Barnett Boulevard, New Bedford, Mass.
Would you care to explain your petition?
Okay. So the YMCA is currently located in a residential district. They currently don't have any permanent signs on the building. They have a temporary small banner on the building, and then they have a freestanding sign that's basically like an A-frame made out of 2x4s with a banner stapled to it. So they don't have a good presence for people driving by because there is no signage. So we are proposing to put a freestanding sign. We are keeping it non-illuminated due to the fact that it is in a residential district. We originally looked at putting it about 18 feet back because there is, if we go any further back, it is a parking lot. But there is a drainage line that falls where we were gonna put the sign, which is located on the site plan. You can see where that falls. So we are placing it as far back as we can, as close to that, but where we won't end up digging where that is. The sign itself is 45 square feet, the entire cabinet. The logo portion on the sign is only about 16 square feet, but there is some blank space around it. Due to their logo standards, we were trying to keep it as close as possible. The
Can I
base
interrupt
of,
you for a minute, please?
Yep.
I'm just going to shut these back doors over here. Thank you, Jeff. Sorry about that. Thank
Oh,
you.
it's okay.
Please proceed.
So the base of their sign is typically just solid painted aluminum. We did try to take into a fact that it is residential, so we are doing a brick base to try to make it fit into the area a little better, taking a brick from the building of the Y. The base does have the address located on it, just to make the address easier for everyone to locate as well. We originally did have it placed closer to the entry driveway. We pushed it to the center of the property, so there's two driveways, one on the far right, one on the far left. We are basically centering it in the middle to help with the visibility of traffic going in and out of the driveways. And then the slope of the front property, there is a decent slope there. So it slopes up, so when cars are turning, it won't affect the visibility that way either. It is about 9 feet back from the sidewalk as we have it. If you have any questions on this sign, do you want me to go into the building sign too, or do you want to ask questions on this first?
Why don't you make the whole presentation,
Okay.
then we can come back.
So then the next sign is putting a sign on the building. Again, the existing banner that they have is basically the size of the logo. The square logo that we're proposing is what the banner currently is up on the building, which is 4'7" by 3'11". This sign, again, is non-illuminated. We are adding the North Suburban YMCA because we feel the full name should be there. Years ago, when I've talked with the Y, they're not sure, they had a building sign like this on the building. And it wrapped, there's like a radius corner on the far right side, and they had individual letters like this that was even longer that wrapped the whole side of the building. The people there in charge now are not sure when it got taken down or why, but they are looking to brand the building and put that up. So they are asking for 109 square feet, which is large because we're using the overall due to the logo. But due to the 33-foot setback from the road where this is being placed, the individual letters are 16 inches high, which is within the readable distance being 33 feet away from the road. And again, non-illuminated, so that way at night there's no extra light or anything on that. So I'm happy to answer any other questions you guys have.
Just one quick question. So in other words, you're proposing two new signs?
Yes,
Okay.
one freestanding and one mounted on the building.
Is there any members of the board have any questions?
How many feet did you say it was set back?
The building sign or the freestanding?
The freestanding.
So it will be 9 feet back from their property line, not including the sidewalk.
And how far back is that drainage line you were talking about?
The drainage line is, I believe it's about 13 feet back. So if we go behind the drainage line, they have like this little stone, like curb almost from the parking area. So if we went behind it, we would hit that stone. I do have this picture that shows the stone here, and originally we wanted to put it back here where the stakes are. But when the surveyor went out and did the survey of the property with the drainage line, this post would have fallen on the drainage line, and we don't have room to move it back because of the curb for the parking.
Okay, so I'm just curious, how did you arrive at 9 feet rather than putting it right up against the 13-foot or on the other side?
So if we put it on the other side, it would hit the curb where the parking is.
Okay, and what about, like, between 9 and 13? Is there something in that space that's it?
So there's, from the curb to the front of where we're proposing the sign to be, that's 9 feet. The sign itself is 6 feet, so putting it further back kind of like goes right on top of that drainage.
Okay.
But going back another 6 feet has us hit that curb.
Thank you.
Got a question, what, the square foot of the freestanding sign? You know that?
What is the square footage? It's 45 square feet.
20's the max, right, for
So I believe,
residential districts?
I did believe it was 20 feet, that's what I pulled. In the notice for the public hearing, it does state that the sign is larger than 10 feet. So I wasn't clear if that meant 10 square feet, because the sign isn't taller or wider than 10 feet. So I don't want to set, I thought it was 20 square feet, but
So if I can,
I don't want to contradict myself because of
you're
this.
not. I conferred with the building commissioner about this, and it does say 10 feet. I don't know if it's 10 square feet. Again, our
Because
confusion.
the building sign is 10 square feet.
We shared your confusion about
Okay.
that. So you're not,
I just don't want to answer incorrectly because
no, you're not.
when I
It's
read
just-
that, I was a
we
little
were-
confused.
We had the building commissioner and I had a discussion about that too. So.
Okay.
So the building sign's 10 square feet?
They're allowed 10 square feet for the
What are you
building sign.
proposing? 20?
109.
109 square feet.
Either sign will be illuminated?
Do they need it?
No. Will either sign
No.
be illuminated?
No. Both are non-illuminated.
Is there a freestanding sign there now? I can't.
Like a temporary one that would be removed. It's basically 2x4s that they made into like an A-frame and have like banner stapled to it. So that would go away. I think this would look much better. And same on the building. There's a banner on the building that's about the size of the logo alone that we're proposing, which is about 5 feet by 5 feet square on the building of just the logo right
Do
now.
you have any idea how long that building's been there? It's been there quite a while, right?
It has been there quite a while. I'm not sure how long, because everyone that I am working with, we found old photos of a sign on the building, but nobody there has been there since it was up. We don't know why somebody took it down. I'm guessing age, maybe. Maybe it started to deteriorate and they took it down and never put it back up. But it was in the same spot we're proposing and even wrapped the building further around that corner.
Is there anybody in the audience who cares to comment on this petition, either pro or con? Approach the rail, sir. Just identify yourself.
Good evening, I'm Dave Walsh, I'm a neighbor. 3 questions.
What's your address?
145 Lexington Street, right next door.
Thank you.
The sign sounds like a good idea, certainly an improvement over the existing one. Just 3 quick questions, if you don't mind. What are the dimensions of the sign? 45 square feet? It's not 45 feet long and 1 foot tall? Like,
Can I show him that picture?
Yeah, well, you can, yeah, show it to him, but would you also describe the dimensions of the sign? Are they, excuse me, are they in the petition, Gordon?
I believe they are.
Yeah.
aha,
Yeah, it should be there.
effectively square? Okay, great. And will it be, am I getting ahead of myself here? Sorry.
I have pictures that are probably the same ones that,
Yeah, do you want me, I can describe the
So,
measurements.
well, yeah, the freestanding sign, what is it?
So the
10
freestand.
by 20, 20 by 100, what is it?
The freestanding sign is an overall height of 7 feet 6 inches high, 6 feet 1 inch wide, and then 9 inches deep.
What's the dimensions of the sign on the building?
The one on the building, the logo is an overall 3 feet 11 inches high by 4 feet 7 inches. And then the individual text that says North Suburban YMCA is 16-inch high letters by 22 feet long.
Go ahead, sir, you have additional questions.
Yeah, quickly, the design looks fine. Will it be parallel to the street or perpendicular?
It will be perpendicular to the
Okay,
road.
so each side you can
Yep.
see, great. And just the material of the sign?
The sign is made out of aluminum, and then the base will be a faux brick veneer.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? The board, any more questions? Mr. Ryan?
If I could, I'd like to just offer this from the zoning regulations, section 13-2, number 7. It says, "Two signs identifying churches, schools, and other institutional uses on each street frontage, one of which may not exceed 20 square feet, and the other not to exceed 10 square feet." So would it be safe to assume this would fit into other institutional uses, I would think?
I would say so. So does that, I haven't read that, but does that say as a matter of right, you could have signs, those institutions could have signs of those dimensions?
That's how I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says the following signs are permitted in all districts, not to exceed 20 feet and
So
20
this
square
is
feet.
the freestanding sign that the petitioner is proposing is in excess of 20 feet. That's the reason for the variance. The reason for the variance is the size plus the location, correct?
Yes. Mr. Vincent, did you say that the building commissioner said, though, it's 10 that applies here?
so the two sections of the variance that the building commissioner I looked at, or he pointed me to, were the setback from 25 feet for the freestanding sign, and the 13.6.4 indicates the freestanding sign larger than 10 feet. And again, that was our confusion. We didn't know whether that was 10 square feet, 10 feet, but we assumed it was the size of the sign. And the other one was the wall sign larger than 10 square feet, which this is clearly over the 10 square feet, the wall sign. But we were confused. The zoning ordinances.
It really only makes sense if it's square feet.
I understood, but it's just, we were taking it literally and
It wasn't artfully drawn. The ordinance is.
there
not-
seems to be a flaw in the crafting of the ordinance, so. But 10 square feet would make more sense than 10 feet. And that's because it's in a residential zone.
Right. I just have a question to the board. Is there any sense in the board that the board would wish to make, if they're inclined to grant the variance, is there any sense that the board would want to make it conditional on the continued use of the property by the petitioner by the YMCA. In other words, if the use of the building were changed to, we'll say, another conventional commercial use, the variance would be extinguished or lapse or whatever. Is there any sense that the board would be amenable to that?
I think that's a
The
very,
building's been there, the YMCA's been there a long time, it probably won't change, but if something occurred and YMCA decided to sell it to, we always beat up a McDonald's, I mean, the board at that time would like another look at the size of it. So
yes.
Yeah, I'd be,
there would be board would be amenable to a condition making it,
Yep.
making the grant, what's the petition? Does the petition have any problem with that?
I don't think they would have a problem with that. I mean, I don't see them moving or changing use of the building. If anything, I feel like they would sell the building, and then at that point, they probably wouldn't care.
Or they might sell it to another institutional charitable.
And I would think at that point, they would have to come back in for approval for their signs anyways, because they're gonna change the use of it.
Okay. All right, so is there any other,
Just one last question, forgive me, I know you already stated this, but the wall sign, what is the square footage on that again?
109 square feet, 109.45.
the vast majority of that is the on the lid that just says North Suburban YMCA, right?
Right, and it's because we have to calculate the overall height of the logo in doing the square footage, because it's basically the rectangle over the full, so the letters are smaller than that. It's because of the height of the logo that gets that square footage. I mean, if I did the square footage of the logo and then the square footage of the letters alone, it would be less, but we're following the zoning ordinance of how to determine it, so.
you have any other questions, Mr. Walsh? Okay. What's the board wish to do?
I will make a motion to approve the variances with the condition that it runs conditionally with the YMCA, that if there was a change of use, then the variance would then lapse. In layman's terms, if that's all right.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. Is there a second to that?
A question on the motion. Would want to stipulate that it remains unlit? You know, because I don't want to just grant the variance, and then when a new sign comes in 5 years, that it would be granted with no backlighting, no lighting.
So that's an additional, that would be an additional condition that the respective signs be
Non-illuminated.
Yeah. You don't have an issue with that?
I don't. The only question I would have that they probably would not have an issue with, if they chose to do like solar ground lights on it at any point, would they be allowed to do that? Like external lights aiming just at the sign, solar powered?
My view would be, it's non-illuminated, but they always could come back and ask for,
Okay,
Yeah.
amend that conditions, you know?
okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if we're gonna do the non-limited, then we should state no ground lighting, so that if they do come in to amend that, to be either solar or electric.
Yeah, they went back and forth with it, that like, I'm not doing it, but I know in the future they may want to.
Right.
So that's why I'm just asking, I'll tell them whatever the decision is. But that's why I wasn't sure how you felt about ground lights, if that would be allowed.
What was your comment?
To extend on the amendment of non-illuminated to include any ground lighting as well.
Yeah.
Well, is that complicated? I mean,
No, because then to Plain Sign's point, you could go out there in a month and an electrician have 2 lights on the monument sign, and it'll be, going north-south, so, if we don't want it to be illuminated, we should include ground lighting.
Yeah.
Oh, So, I mean, how do you want that particular condition, how do you want it to read?
Just add including ground lighting.
That there's, both signs be non-illuminated, including
For any ground
any and
lighting,
all
Yeah.
ground.
Internally and external.
internally and external.
All right, you get that, Glenn? Is that satisfactory to the other people?
Yes.
All right, so could you restate the motion, Gordon, because you're gonna have to draw this decision up.
To grant the variance with two conditions, the first one is that the variance would be, would run with the MCA if there's a change in use, then the variance would lapse. The second condition is a stipulation that the sign must remain unlit. I'll fashion it so it says that there's no lighting internally or including ground lighting.
That is both sides.
Yeah, both signs.
Okay, you got the motion, everybody got the motion? You got it, madam? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You could check from time to time, Mr. Vincent will draw up a decision. You've been in front
Yep.
of us before, haven't you?
I believe so. I know the decision, 20-day appeal period.
All right,
Then we'll deal with it then.
thank you, madam.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right, the fifth matter on the agenda is a petition by, I'm going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Zecco.
There you go.
Where are they?
There's been a request to continue filed by the
Oh,
attorney.
there is?
Yes.
I don't have, it. I mean, do I have it in the package?
You do not, because it just came in about 4:30 or so.
Oh, do you have a,
I do have a copy of it,
could
yes.
you read it?
I have. This is from Attorney James Giuliano, 42 Pleasant Street, Woburn, Mass. Dear Mr. Vincent, as you are aware, this office represents the petitioners, the owners of 52 Montvale Ave, in connection with a petition for special permit. I didn't try to pronounce either, so. Please find this letter as a formal request to continue the public hearing scheduled for Wednesday, December 20th, 2023, to your next regularly scheduled meeting in January in connection with the special permit application. Additionally, my client expressly assents to waiving all time standards pursuant to Massachusetts statutes and local bylaws. If you should have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Respectfully submitted, James A. Giuliano.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent.
Thank you.
What's the pleasure of the board on this,
Make a motion to grant the continuance.
as per that letter?
Second.
The motion is as stated. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The matter will be continued. What are we, the 17th?
January 17th, yes.
All right, the sixth matter on the agenda is approval of minutes from meeting of November 15th. What's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as amended by colleagues on this board. They submitted.
I saw the chairwoman making notes on hers. All right, so the motion, is there a second to that?
Second.
Motion made, second, that the minutes as submitted be approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we have this ongoing discussion of the redrafting of the application, the zoning board's application form, so we'll certainly continue that once again.
So
I think
moved.
we have to, since
Yeah.
Chair Pinkham has some input on that, so I would say make a motion to continue.
Second.
Motion made, second, to continue that discussion of and drafting of new, possibly a new zoning board application form. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Is there any other matter that come before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Well,
Wait a minute, I think I saw Mr. Ryan look like he wanted to say something. Let's cut him off.
I was going to ask Mr. Vincent about Mr. Boss. Was that,
So, Mr. Boss has filed an amended plan for his fence. This is 113 Mishawum Road, the one that the board granted last month. I conferred with, I sent out a copy of the plan to everybody today. The chairman indicated via email that she would prefer to have this put on the agenda for January. The board would have to decide if this is a minor modification or if it would go back to a full public hearing.
so moved?
Just on that
Yes.
motion, would the neighbor who was speaking on that petition, would she be notified?
I will certainly contact
Okay.
her.
Okay, thank you,
That's a good idea. I was thinking about how to do that, but I will contact her.
thank you.
All right, motion made and seconded that matter with respect to 113, what's it, Mishawum Road? Be also put on the agenda for January 17th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And what's the final, is there a motion to adjourn, I guess? Would be in order. Motion to adjourn would be in order.
Yes,
Yes, so
it would.
moved.
A second.
Motion made, second to adjourn this meeting. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, I should say.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for this. I appreciate it very much.